You know, Papa, what you used to fan charcoal. You've seen it before.
Right.
When you fan it, then the charcoal bright red.
It's a call for accountability.
You fan government's charcoal to it's bright red.
It's a call for accountability.
I enjoy it. This our society,
right?
And it will take me and you to do it. That's why I always watch Johnny's Bite.
The general watches Johnny's Bite
every day.
Thank you very much.
And I is devoid of insults, but straight to the point, factual and fearless.
Charlie, no be joke. The pressure people like Johnny can give you.
No.
You know, get grey hair, you go get grey hair.
I'm innocent.
And that's what I'm saying. That the pressure Johnny and his people, the pressure they can give you, you know, get grey hair, you go get. So your best bet is not to have hair.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for you art with me. The rod and the staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Forgive my voice, please. It's croaky, I know. But this morning, after a very good weekend, and we laid my big auntie to rest, Charlotte Uluaboyin Hughes. We laid her to rest. I'm back to talk about a very important subject, because the young people that I met at the funeral spoke to me about a myriad of issues. One of them is rent. One of them is to rent in Accra, in Tema, in Kumasi, in Takrady, in Ho, in Hohoi, in Pandu, in Bigduri, all those places. The young people. Did you know that they were made a promise by the president that we're going to pay their rent? So this is it. NPP promises to pay rent for Ghanaian youth if with the ellipsis is that when they win power. The NPP has won power since 2020. Now, a bit of the story says the New Patriotic Party has promised to pay the rent advance of Ghanaian youth if it wins the 2020 presidential and parliamentary polls. A member of the NPP communication team, Nana Kumia, has said. Nana Kumia is the boss at the STC, by the way, State Transport Corporation. With him is my good friend Kamal Dean. So Nana Kumia is like a big brother. Kamal Dean is my brother. Now, it says, according to him, this was due to the problem of high rent and long advance. Let's pause here first. High rent, long advance. Today, young people have had to contend with salary advance for 2 years. But we do know that in our laws, you are not supposed to pay beyond 6 months, 3 months. We know. The NPP government promised us, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Vice President Baobia, everybody else was there. Nobody said, hey, Jai, wanuma fumbasa basa basa, wankani ye cry. Nobody said anything. They promised us. And then we decided that we're going to vote for them to give us the rent. Now the young people have voted for them, and the rent, no, they show. 2021 is gone. We are in February 2022. So the question we're asking this morning is, na rent no wahi? Because the government promised that they were going to give us rent. Oh. They did. They did. And they opened the other portal for me. The government promised us that they were going to give us rent. They promised that they were going to give us rent. President Akufo-Addo, it says NPP 2020 manifesto, how Akufo-Addo intends to address their housing deficit in the second term. Never mind that Saglem is there. We have not used it. Never mind. Let's focus on what Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo promises. One of the long-standing socioeconomic challenges of Ghana is the availability of affordable and decent housing for all citizens. The Center for Affordable Housing Finance in Africa estimates that in 2019, Housing Finance Yearbook that Ghana has a housing deficit of more than 1.7 million housing units. This is not far removed from the projection of State Housing Corporation or Company CEO Kwabena Mpofo appear that every Ghanaian to own a house, the government will have to build 2 million houses. This is where the meat is. This challenge is compounded by other factors such as land litigation, high cost of construction, and demand for rent on medium to long-term basis, which places financial constraints on many tenants. The myriad of challenges have prompted the New Patriotic Party under the leadership of President Akufo-Addo to propose certain measures in their manifesto for the 2020 elections. The objective of these measures is to address the barriers to housing acquisition or rental in the country. One key measure is the National Rental Assistance Scheme. One key measure is the National Rental Assistance Scheme. The immediate goal of this scheme is to address the short to medium term market failures in the rental segment of the housing market. Rental Assistance Scheme. Good morning, Mr. President. The young people of this country, the so-called rental assistance scheme, they are waiting for it. Because this morning there's somebody who is being ejected from their home because they can't afford rent. This morning there's somebody who is roaming from house to house with a certain crooked agent, and they have to pay 50 Ghana cedis, they call it inspection fee. The agent knows that, oh, there's no house at Alajo, but you will take the 50 cedis, go and roam with you at Alajo, small, and then come back to Bubuashi and say, oh, tomorrow we'll go to Nima. Now, while we talk about the rental assistance, look at what has been left at Saglemi. Take a look. What our money was used to build. This one. We have left this one is hanging. We are not dealing with it. It's rotting away. And we say we are going to give people rental allowance. What is Aboteman, which was built by President Kufo? Saglemi, oh, Saglemi. This is not Ghana. Thank you to Graphic Online for this video. Forgive my voice, please. Let it sink in this morning. Young people have become paddies by default, because if me and Peter Duncan are not friends, we have to become friends at once because we want to live in the same place. Because they are charging 700 cedis per room. Peter cannot afford 700. I cannot afford 700. So Peter says, give me 350. Let me give you 350. And then we can merge. So Peter is not my friend, but we are merging. And you, Nanado, you came to promise the young people of the country that, oh, when I come, rental allowance. Rental allowance. You have won power. 2020. Where is the rental allowance? And when I do these things, your people don't like it. Me too, I don't actually care. Because I'm reminding you what promises you made to the people, and I'm guiding you to keep your promise. Saglemi is done. This one. Danny pause. Saglemi is done. This one is finished. It's ready for use. Why we are not using it is a problem. Saglemi is ready. And he played the video. Saglemi is ready. Fully done. 1 bedroom, self-contained, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom is ready. We are not using it. Then now we leave that to come and promise the people will give you rental allowance. You have won power in 2020, 2021, 2022. You have not paid the rent. Young people today, if you ask them what the majority of their income consumes, is rent. Rent, transport, feeding, clothing. Not so far the tight kakra. Rent, transport, feeding, clothing. Then he find Vice President Bawumia's video for me, promising that he will pay the rent of the Ghanaian youth. He promised them, Dr. Bawumia. He was in white. He promised the people of Ghana, the young people of Ghana, that will pay your rent for you. I see there's backtracking on there. You can use your Ghana card to go and travel anywhere. It's your e-passport, blah, 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 blah. And I say, when you are traveling, take your passport along. We need a woo. Everything must be politics in this country. Why? Why? You promise young people, that you're going to pay their rent for them. Young people, today who are being evicted, today who are patching, today who are just trying to be parties because they cannot afford the rent. Play Dr. Bawumia's video for me.
We are, God willing, going to focus a lot on in the next term. There are three components of our housing policy. It is clear that there are a lot of youth who, when they finish school, just trying to rent accommodation is a big problem. And why is it? The large demands for rent allowance. Sometimes up to 2 years demand. But someone who is finished school and just starting a job doesn't have those savings to pay all these huge demands for rent allowance. The landlords, on the other hand, have gotten used to asking, even though the law says 6 months, they've gotten used to asking for 2 years and insist on it because they are saying that they don't know if the tenant will run away or not, so they want to collect it up front. So there is a market failure. There's a market failure between what the tenants want and what the landlords want. And this is why government has decided to come in and bridge this market failure by setting up a national rental assistance scheme. And under this scheme, you know, if you have a job and we can deduct regularly from your income, under this scheme, the National Rent Assistance Scheme will give you a loan to pay your rent allowance. But we are paying this not to you, but to the landlord. And then we will deduct monthly as you would normally pay. So we are bridging this. You need to have a formal employment, which will allow us, or guarantee, someone who will guarantee.
Bossu, you promised everything. You have done nothing. You call somebody Professor Doolittle. I don't know what to call you, Doctor, I don't know. You promised everything. National renter, blah, blah, blah. You deduct from their income. Even the jobs that they will find to have the income for you to deduct from, they can't find the jobs. Nananapko. You saw them on the streets. You didn't see them. Oh, maybe the president was out of the country. Vice president, you saw them on the street. You're acting president. Did you see them on the streets? Even the income that you want to deduct their rent from, there's no income to deduct from. If I am a national service person today and I earn 559 Ghana cedis and you have not paid me for 3 months, which income are you deducting from? Bozu, answer. And for those of you who come on air, come and sit here and come and say, oh, they are in a better place, blah, 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 your salaries are paid regularly. So you are not being fair to the young people. You promise them rent, their salaries are not in, their allowances are not in, you cannot deduct. So they are just hopeless. And most of the young people, you see them, they have identity crisis. Young people, 30, 35 years, 40 years, they have identity crisis because nothing they happen. You promise them rent. He said we were going to give them rent assistance. You won power in 2020, 2021, 2022, February. No show. So the question is, are you happy with yourself that you have made a promise to people, your children and your grandchildren, Mr. President, and you have not fulfilled that. I'm just asking you, I'm not insulting. I'm asking you that you made a promise to the people, rental allowance, and Dr. Baumia, he diagnosed the problem. He said, this is the reason. So we will not pay to the tenant, we pay to the landlord. As for your rent control department, don't talk about them. Because your rent control department, they are near useless. Your rent control department, oh, they are near useless. Have a problem with your landlord, take it to rent control department. You regret. Rent control department are supposed to know which house has been rented, which house has not been rented. It's just there like that. I'll get into the rent control department very, very soon. Not today. I'll get into it. I will show you the certificates of the boss of the rent control department. And I'll diagnose for you whether the rent control department boss is qualified to be in that seat or not. And I will ask a critical question, what their perfect role is. And when I finish, I will ask also if they are pursuing landlords to pay rent tax. When I finish that one too, I will ask them how many agents they have legitimized or licensed to be taking people around to say they are taking inspection fee. Because young people are paying too much. They are inspecting, they go and Roma 50 cities, they go and Roma 70 cities, they go and Roma 30 cities. They are looking for one single place to stay. One. Meanwhile, we are supposed to have a rent control department. What was the input of the rent control department in the policy that was announced by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Baumia, the rent assistance? What was their input? Did they have an input? And that is why in the coming days, I will demonstrate to you that our rent control department, we have to sanitize it. Because young people are sweating in this country for rent. You get your money, you are paying rent, you pay water, you pay electricity, transport, asa, finish. Sometimes you even owe your pastor tithe, you can't pay. As a Muslim, you can't do saraka. It's a shame. And we were promised by the president, no less a person, and the vice president of the rent assistance allowance. So I say, more than 1 year on, where is the money? The young people are asking you, Mr. President. You were lucky, Mr. President. Your father was a big man. They took you to London to go and learn. You came back, talked as a cracker, So you're a big man. They left houses for you. You are fine. What about those of us whose fathers didn't have even a wooden spoon in our mouth? And we had to be eating clay on our own. Where's the money? You promised the young people that you were going to pay their rent. Nana Akumia reiterated it. I'm just reminding you, last Friday when I showed the Nanton hospital, you were happy. You made calls. I know. Today I'm asking you, the rent assistance allowance that you promised the young people of this country, where is it? Where is it? You promised the young people that you are going to pay their rent. Where is it? You said you were not going to give them the money, you give it to their landlords. Where is the money? Where is the rent assistance allowance? Saglemi, rent assistance. And you are still in power. We have the men. You have the Minister for Works and Housing. Asensotri, good morning to you. You are Minister for Works and Housing. Good morning to you. Were you part of the policy decision to announce to the people of Ghana, especially the young people, that you are going to give them rent allowance? Were you part? If you are not part, come and show. Come and show your palm. The young people, and Mr. President, this is my final one to you. I say, disguise yourself one day. Go to town. Sit in a tinted vehicle and listen to the conversations in town. The people are disappointed in you. They say, Nana Dada Yang, you have lied to them. You have deceived them. One is what I brought to you, rent allowance. Sikano. Good morning.
Correct. And it will take me and you to do it. That's why I always watch Johnny's Bite.
The general watches Johnny's Bite.
Every day.
Thank you very much.
And it's devoid of insults, but straight to the point, factual and fearless.
Charlie, no be joke. You know, pressure people like Johnny can give you.
No.
You know, get gray hair, you go get gray hair.
I'm innocent.
And that's what I'm saying. That the pressure Johnny and his people, the pressure they can give you, you know, get gray hair, you go get. So your best bet is not to have hair.